Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Currently it's 8 till 7. Today marks the third day of the anatomy journey, and what we have on our hands today is biology. We will study the kinds of muscles, morphology, classifications of skeletal muscles, attachments and actions of skeletal muscles, nomenclature of muscles, and supplementary structures of muscles. And then if we finish that, then we're going to head right into the bones of the body, which is the skeletal system. Hopefully it's going to be easy. Bismillah. I'll just make myself some tea until, we begin. This means that we are supposed to start the sessions. So let's see. Okay. Let me have a different view. Let's change views a bit for today. This seems good. Okay, Bismillah. Set the timer for 30 minutes. And then we begin the biology. First, I gotta go up here. Okay, so biology. We can start with, basics of biology. So we have three. Biology. So biology is a branch of anatomy that studies muscles, including their structures, function, and classification, in addition to how they interact with the bones, nerves, and connective tissues. They make up roughly 40% of the total body mass and are responsible for producing movement, maintaining posture, and stabilizing joints, and generating heat during contraction. Muscle tissues is composed of specialized cells called myocytes, which have a unique ability to contract, extend, and respond to stimuli and return to their original shape. So we have three types of muscles: skeletal, cardiac, and smooth. Okay. Three types of muscle tissues in the human body: smooth, cardiac, and skeletal. Okay. We just got disconnected, but everything seems fine now. Okay, yeah, everything is good. Alright, okay, let's continue. Erector pili muscles, which I think they are in the heart. Oh yeah, erector pili, they are the skin muscles. Yeah, and I think, because pili just reminded me with the name papillary. That's why I got to, got confused between the two. Erector pili muscles, they are muscles that, that makes your hair stand up, have a goosebump, as they say. Yeah. And that type of muscle is a smooth muscle. So the location is the walls of hollow organs: intestine, stomach, blood vessels, bladder, uterus, respiratory tract. And the structure is non-striated, spindle-shaped, and single nucleus. functions move substances through organs, which is called peristalsis. Okay. It regulates blood vessels diameter, dilatations and constrictions in the superficial layer of the skin, and as well as the shunt vessels, just pupil size, which is also part of the autonomous nervous system. High resistant to fatigue. Because of this. Can just put this, with the characteristics. Cardiac models. So, cardiac muscles, they are only found in the heart, thus the name, and the structure, or I should say characteristics. The characteristics is striated, just like skeletal muscles. I just say striated. And branched fibers connected by intercalated discs, usually one nucleus per cell, and does not fatigue under normal conditions. And the intercalated discs allow for synchronized contraction. You just have this point, which allow for synchronized contraction. The control is as the following: voluntary sensitive regulated by autonomic nervous system and intrinsic pacemaker cells. SA node. Okay, now onto the skeletal muscles. smooth muscles, then cardiac muscles. Done. Now onto the skeletal muscles. Striated. Multinucleated cells and faster contract, but fatigues more quickly than smooth or cardiac. I just had a really weird dream about some Egyptians stealing from this store, and then I had to stop them and whatnot. It was something. But yeah, it was really weird. Just woken up to it by like 4 a.m. or like 5:30. I'm not sure. But yeah. It's been all on my mind. All up in my mind. Okay. Now we see the functions. The function of the skeletal muscles is to produce body movement, maintains posture and stabilizes joints, and as well generates heat during contraction. Stay controlled consciously by somatic, autonomic and somatic. Okay, that concludes the introduction. Now on to the functions. No, actually not. Morphology. Yeah, morphology. Units of 𝐾𝐧𝐚𝐭𝐦. continue. We just had a water break, and now we continue to study the myology, the structure of the muscle cells. Let's see. Okay, so the morphology is as follows. Muscle morphology refers to the structure or organization of muscle tissues from the whole muscle down to the microscopic fibers. Understanding this hierarchy is essential in myology because it explains how muscles contract, transmit force, and interact with connective tissues. Muscles are organized in layers, each wrapped in connective tissues sheath that provide support, protection, and pathways for nerves and blood vessels. Now let's break it down into smaller parts from the largest to the smallest. Okay, so the whole muscles. So you got the whole muscles, which is surrounded by epimysium, epimysium, and then you have bundles of muscles fibers, which are called fascicles. Fascicles. I hope I'm pronouncing it correct. Fascicles. Let's see how much this actually can fascicles. Yeah, fascicle. Yeah, fascicle. That's 30 minutes have passed. Really went by in a flash. Muscle fibers. Just do the muscle fibers and then I'll break. Okay, so Each fascicle contains many muscle fibers, which are long cylindrical multinucleated cells. And each muscle fiber is covered by a connective tissue layer called the endomycelium, which is very delicate, made of reticular fiber. And the function is to provide capillary support for capillary networks for nutrient exchange, electrically insulates fibers from each other, and help transmit force from fibers to the perimycelium. Help transmit force from fibers to the perimycelium. From fibers to perimycelium. Okay. Force. From fibers to the perimycelium. I see. The force from the muscle fibers is like aggregated. Okay. Let me just have a 5 minutes break. I just realized that I was muted the whole time. But yeah, we are going to continue. We just had a little breakfast and now we're back. 30 minutes as usual, 27 minutes left. And yeah, we're going to continue with the morphology, classifications, attachment. Now we're going to see, understand why are we learning this thing. It says here that, you know, understanding these layers helps you grasp how force is transmitted, how nerve and blood vessels reach muscle cells, why muscle injuries differ, like strain versus tear, strain and tear, and how muscle architecture affect the strength and movement. Okay. Okay, that's for the morphology. Or is it? No, we just, how about we, what if we, nomenclature of the muscles, we do it first. Nomenclature of muscles. So, location, shape, say size, direction of fibers, number of origins, point of attachment, and functions. Okay. To do the classification. Convergent muscles, triangular muscles, and then you have the circle sphincter muscles. Palmate muscles. Feather-like shape. Fibers attach obliquely to a tendon, very strong but shorter range of motion. Unipinnate, bipinnate, multipinnate, extensor digital, rectus femoris, deltoid. Okay, that's the classification of muscle according to their shape. Now according to their fibers directions, fiber arrangement. That was actually according to the fibers arrangement. Okay. So you have according to shape long, short, broad and flat, what particularities? It should be, you know, I have no idea from where this teacher wrote this. Yeah, this teacher got this information from. Especially classical. into shape. Yeah. Okay, that's the classifications of skeletal muscles according to their shape. And according to their fibers arrangement. Now we do the attachment and actions of skeletal muscles. $30 passed again, really quickly, and we are yet to finish. We have like two more. Let me check. Yeah, so I've got the action of skeletal muscles, attachments, and action of skeletal muscles, and then we have the nomenclature. Already did it. The supplementary structure of muscles. So hopefully in 1 hour, I mean in the next sessions, next 30-minute session, I'll be able to finish this biology. And then maybe head to the bones of the body. set the 5-minute timer. Actually, yeah, let's make it 5 minutes. We just finished our 5 minutes break, and we're going to continue. The study of myology. So skeletal muscles produce movement by pulling on bones, and they do this through their tendinous attachment. Each muscle typically has two attachment points. One is the origin, and the other is the insertion, distal attachment and proximal attachment. So the origin is the attachment of muscle tendon to the stationary or less movable bone, and it is usually located closer to the trunk and acts as the anchor point. For example, the biceps brachii, the origin is on the scapula. I think the 𝐒𝐭𝐿 process. Let me check. Acromial process of scapula. Or the coracoid. Is it the, let's see, attachment, actually origin of biceps brachii. And the coracoid process on the acromion, the coracoid process here. And the insertion is on the radius. This is the acromion and this is the coracoid. Alright. I'll see it in a bit. Let's check it over here. This is the scapula. So, origin of the long head, and this is the short head. So, origin, supraglenoid tubercle of the scapula. And okay, so the short head is the origin for the short head is the coracoid process. They two have different origins, but they have a common insertion, which is the radial tuberosity. And the long head has a extra insertion point is the bicipital aponeurosis. And the origin for the long head is the supraglenoid tubercle of the scapula. Supraglenoid tubercle. So this is the glenoid cavity, I assume. Glenoid fossa cavity. What was it? glenoid cavity, glenoid fossa, they're the same thing. Okay, so this is a glenoid tubercle. So this is the acromion, this is the cricoid, and this is the glenoid. Glenoid, acromion, cricoid. Too many names. So we have to find a lot more. Okay. And the insertion is right here. Long head. There's the aponeurosis of the. Yes, this is the bicipital aponeurosis. Okay. Well, okay. That's about that. Okay, now just continue with the insertion, and then our muscles are producing movement alongside the roles of the muscles during the movement. You know, prime movers, antagonist, synergist, and all of that. We'll come to it. Okay. The muscles do not push, they pull. What's the origin? Okay. Can have this under a common heading called attachments. Muscle. And then these, we can call it here, walls of movement. Okay. So prime mover, antagonist, synergist, and fixator. just do the formatting, because like makes it much easier to read, and to the extent of understanding makes it easier to read, which helps you with understanding better, hopefully. So formatting is necessary. So, prime mover, agonist, agonist. I'm not sure. Agonist. Let me check. Pronunciation. Agonist, yeah. Antagonist. And then you have the antagonist and the agonist. Prime mover, the agonist, the major muscle responsible for producing a specific movement. During elbow flexion, biceps brachii is the prime mover. The antagonist is the, you could say the triceps brachii. And the muscles opposes the action of the prime mover. Provide control and smoothness of movement. Prevent injury by resisting excessive motion. Synergist, muscles that assist the prime mover in performing an action, add extra force and reduce unnecessary movement, help to stabilize the joints. And the fixator, muscles that stabilizes the origin of the prime mover so it can act efficiently, prevent unwanted movement at the origin. So you don't want to, the origin of your muscles, the origin of the agonist does not, you don't want it to be moving around. So the muscles that fixates or stabilizes the origin is called the fixator. And those muscles are, since the origin of the brachii, biceps brachii is in the the long head is in the glenoid tubercle, and the short head is in the coracoid process of the scapula. So you want that scapula to be stabilized. So any muscles that stabilizes the scapula, fix it in its place, is a fixator to that action, which is in this case during the elbow flexion. Okay, that's that. Oof. Right. Now we go to the supplementary structures of the muscles. Supplement. We got the fascia, tendon, sheath, synovial bursa on the sesamoid bones. Wonder. Okay. Yeah, that's basically what we did. Okay. Okay. We got disconnected for a second over there, but we are back. Okay, so what are the supplementary structures of the, muscles? One that I previously known is the sesamoid bones, which include like the patella of the knee, and then you got the very specific for a specific small muscle that could be seen in the palmar side of the hand when it is in supinated position. So it is a very small muscle, small bone called the pisiform, and this pisiform is a type of what do you call it? Sesamoid bone. And let me see where if I can, find it. So it should be somewhere over here. Let's fade this. Let's fade this as well. How about we fade this? Fade. Then we try to find the pisiform. Pisiform, where is it? The pisiform. This one here. This exactly. This is the pisiform of the carpals. It's part of the carpals. So very small muscle. So what does it mean to be supplementary structure of muscle? So it means that they do not work alone. They are supported by several accessory structures that reduce friction or protect tendons and or stabilizes joints and or ultimately improve mechanical efficiency. So you could see here the tendon of this ligament of the flexor carpi ulnaris. You could see you could see it just goes over it like some kind of a, what do you call it? How to say it? It's not a joint, but it's like a lever type of action. Pull, lever action. lever action. Types of lever. Types of levers. It's like a pulley. I don't know. It's yeah. Wait, hold on. Let me see if I can find a pulley. Here's the pulley. Let's see. Where is it? Yeah, it's like this pulley action. Why is that? Because like it was mentioned, improve mechanical efficiency. But I wonder how. You know, let's see if we can. As we watch the thing, we will see how it works. Watch the movement of the thing, of the muscle group. I don't know. Let's see. Oh, it is an insertion of the flexor carpi ulnaris insert into the pisiform, the sesamoid point, and hook of a mate and the base of the metacarpal 5. Okay, it goes like over onto and the base goes like this. I guess it is to like have more range of motion, like to enable it to have more range of motion ultimately. Yeah, all right. Which provide, this is the 5th metacarp. Yeah. As we study it in depth in the upcoming parts, then we will find out what actually each and every, you know, route of the tendons and the muscles do, and how what's their significance. All right, okay. Now let's just focus on the supplementary structure, on the basics. Okay. Like as we said, the skeletal muscles do not work alone. They're supported by several accessory structures that reduce the friction, protect tendons, stabilize joint, and improve mechanical efficiency. So they include the fascia. We got 2 types of fascia: superficial and deep. As well as you got types of, 2 types of fascia: superficial and deep. Function: separates and support muscles. Allow muscle to glide smoothly against each other. Forms compartments, anterior and posterior leg compartments. Provide pathways for nerves and vessels. Okay, I'm good. Now you got the tendon sheath. Tendon sheath is a double-layered synovial tube that surround a tendon, especially where tendon passes through a tight or bony tunnel. It has an outer fibrous layer and an inner synovial layer which secretes synovial fluid. The main function of the tendon sheath is to reduce the friction between tendon and surrounding structure, protect tendon from wear during repetitive movement, allows smooth gliding of tendon, especially in hands, fists, hands, feet, and wrists. Okay. And now the third, synovial bursa. The synovial bursa is a small flattened synovial filled sac. It's mostly in the arms. Acts as a cushion. Patellar bursa, subacromial bursa, and then olecranon bursa. Okay, this is died. It's a cushion, reduces friction, prevents tissue damage during movement. It's similar to the, similar in function with the tendon sheath, but the location different, similar. But what makes it different is the acts as a cushion, the synovial bursa, that is. Now this is some bones. This is some bones. Okay. 30 minutes passed and nearly finished the biology. So the system of bones improve mechanical efficiency by changing the angle of pull, increases leverage of muscles. Yeah, so basically like this thing, yeah, it changes the angle of the movement. So if it was directly moved, if this flexor carpi ulnaris was directly attached to the base of the metacarpal 5, it would just it would just go like that. I don't think it would, there would no way it will go all the way like this, all the way like this, yeah, all the way like this. It would only go like this, but yeah, I think I get it now. So the function of the system of bone is to change the angle or increase the angle. So instead of it coming through, the tendon attaches to this joint directly, it goes from up So it is as if the muscle is coming from up. That's why, you know, we can move our finger like this. The base of our finger, like it's gonna go like this. Instead of like, but yeah, that's good. That's good. So, what are they? The fascia, the tendon sheath, the synovial bursa, and the system of bones. And that's it. Did we finish the morphology? Let me check. Yeah, that's the end of the myology. Okay. Fascia, let's do a quick recap. So, introduction. Myology is a branch of anatomy that studies the muscles, including their structure, function, classification, and how they interact with the bones, nerves, and connective tissues. Okay, we have three types of, you know, muscle types: smooth, cardiac, and skeletal. The smooth muscle is, you know, non-striated and spindle-shaped with a single nucleus, and one of its characteristics is that it is slow. It has slow and sustained contractions, and because slow and sustained contractions, thus we have it is most likely resistant to fatigue, since the contractions are slow and controlled, you know, via the autonomous nervous system, and they are mostly found in the hollow organs of the system. Hollow organs of the human body, and mostly in intestines, stomachs, blood vessels, mostly blood vessels, because it controls the, you know, the blood vessel diameter, you know, in homeostasis, thermoregulation. We, you know, during heat, if the body temperature is really high, then the superficial blood vessels, they dilate, and that's where the smooth muscles, and we cannot control that since it's controlled by the autonomous nervous system. We control only the somatic nervous system. So that's the smooth muscles. They also like move, you know, substances, you know, food via peristalsis, of like movement that goes like this, and it goes, you know, via the esophagus and the small intestines and the large intestines, in fact. Okay, cardiac muscles. They're only found in the heart. Thus the name, and the form the myocardium. Myo means muscles, cardio means cardi is the heart. So heart muscles, cardiac muscles. So they are striated, but they are not controlled by the somatic nervous system. They're controlled by the autonomic nervous system, as well as the intrinsic pacemaker cells, but which I think it is the SA node. The intrinsic pacemaker cells of the heart. Yeah, so they are the specialized cardiac cells, primarily located in the SA node. Yeah. So, you know, they are striated and they have branch fibers, and the branches are connected by intercalated discs, and the function of these intercalated discs is to allow synchronized contraction in the whole, you know, muscle fiber between the branches. Okay, synchronized contraction. Otherwise, then we will have like really random contractions, and that would cause a lot of issues we don't want with the heart. Okay, and the functions are as it obviously contracts rhythmically and automatically throughout your whole life, so you can pump blood and breathe and live and do what you want to do. Okay, locations. Now we come to the skeletal muscle, which are the majority of the muscles in your body that you can control. They are striated, long, and cylindrical fibers, and they are multi-nucleated. They're fast to contract, okay? Like you could contract them fast, but fatigues. As a result, it fatigues more quickly than the smooth or cardiac muscles. And obviously, you can control them since they are, we call it voluntary muscles that could be controlled via the somatic nervous system. They produce body movement, maintains posture, stabilizes joints, and generate heat during contraction. Generate heat during contraction, what does it mean? It's just, you know, just shivering, basically. When you like, it's very cold outside and you find yourself involuntarily shivering, that's basically the body trying to make heat, produce heat as a result from the contraction of the muscles. Since they have a lot of ATP, and ATP, you know, could be used for contraction. Contraction causes, you know, movement causes friction to some point, and then it causes to release heat. Okay, now we go to the morphology of the muscles. So the structural organization of muscles is as follows. Okay, you got the whole muscle, and then you got the fascicles, and then the muscle fibers. The whole muscle, it is covered by a layer of connective tissue, dense irregular connective tissue. That's the epimysium. Mycelium. And the function of that epimysium is to protect the muscle from friction against other muscles or bones. Let me see. I can bring it up. So this is the epimysium, you know, most outermost layer, and then you have the okay. So this whole muscle, so got the epimysium. So that's the dense irregular connective tissue that surrounds the whole muscle. Okay, and the function is to protect the muscle from friction against other muscles. So this is a single muscle covered by a layer of irregular dense irregular connective tissue that protects it from friction against other muscles or bones in that matter, and helps to maintain the muscle shape and provides a surface for tendon attachment. So the tendon attaches to the epimysium. So that's the outermost layer, epimysium. Now we have the fascicles. See these small group of fibers. A group of fibers is called a fascicle. grouped into bundles. So these are bundles. Okay. So this is one muscle. Now these one muscle is made out of bundles of fascicles. So this is a bundle of fascicle. This is a bundle of fascicle. This is a bundle of fascicles. And now if you take one bundle of fascicle and zoom it in, then we have this is one bundle of fascicle. Then we have bundles of what do you call it? Muscle fiber. So these are bundles of muscle fibers. These are all together bundles of muscle fiber close to each other. Okay. So this fascicle, this singular fascicle, is also covered by connective tissue, which is called the perimycelium. And the function of the perimycelium is to provide pathways for blood vessels and nerves, and determines the texture of, in case animals, I hope you don't eat humans, but it determines the texture of meat, which could be either coarse or fine. And compared to the endomycelium, which is on the muscle fiber, this is a muscle fiber. It is much thicker than the endomycelium. The perimycelium is thicker than the endomycelium. As you go down, the thickness decreases as you get down to the smallest unit. From epimycelium, perimycelium, endomycelium, the thickness of the connective tissue decreases. Okay, if we go to the muscle fibers now, each fascicle contains many muscle fibers, okay, which are long, cylindrical, and multinucleated. So these are nucleus. The nucleus are always peripheral to the the cell body, or the myocell. And the muscle fibers, they are the innermost cells. You got the endomycelium. It is the innermost connective tissue layer which surround each individual muscle fiber. Okay, this is a muscle fiber. This is each individual muscle fiber, very delicate and made out of reticular fiber. Okay, the function is to provide a capillary network, provides a capillary network for nutrients exchange and electrically insulates the fibers from each other. And it also, as we discussed earlier, it helps to transmit the force from the fibers to from the endomycelium to perimycelium, then epimycelium, and then the whole muscle moves. So that's about that. And now the characteristics of the muscle fibers, single individual muscle fiber. So we call the muscle fiber it has like each has its specific name. For example, we have, in normal cells, we got the cell membrane, but we call the cell membrane of the single muscle fiber, we call it the sarcolemma, the cell membrane of the muscle fiber. So it's right, this is a single muscle fiber. So we call the cytoplasm, the cell membrane of that single muscle fiber, the sarcolemma, and the cytoplasm of that single muscle fiber, we call it the sarcoplasm. Okay, and you got inside the muscle fiber single, but it's not shown here, is the myofibrils, and then you got the sarcomeres, and they are like we say, it's multinucleated, and the nucleus is peripherally located to the sarcolemma, which is the cell membrane of the muscle fiber. Okay, now we have obviously we need a lot of mitochondria, because it's a muscle after all, and we need to have a lot of energy. Okay, now we go to the nomenclature of muscles. Now the nomenclature of muscles are based on seven points. First one is the location, shape, size, direction of the fibers, number of origins or heads, and points of attachments and function. So location, for example, muscles are often named after the regional bone. You got the temporalis over the temporal bone, intercostal between the ribs, the costal intercostals between the ribs, and the brachialis in the arm, which is called brachial in Latin. But anyways, shape, size, and the others as you got the classifications. You got the classification according to the shape and according to the fibers arrangement. According to the shape, we got the long muscles, short muscles, broad or flat muscles, orbicular or circular muscles, and that's it for the shape. And according to the fibers arrangement, we got the fusiform, parallel, triangular, or convergent muscles, circular, sphincter muscles, or pinnate muscles. And yeah, we will, as you study the muscular system in details, these terms would be more obvious to you, and it will be easier to memorize them, hopefully. Okay, so muscle attachments. So there are two muscles attachments. When a muscle has like two types of muscle attachments. One is the origin, and one is the insertion. So the insertion is the distal, distal part of the what do you call it, of the attachment, where the other tendon, the other tendon, it moves the movable bone towards the immovable bone, less or stationary or less movable bone. And the origin is the site of the muscle tendon. It's muscle tendon here, and the what do you call it? What is it? Yeah. So the forms of skeletal, you got the belly, the fleshy portion of the muscle, and then you got the tendon, which is the fibrous strands. So the belly is near to the origin, is always on the origin, and the tendon, the belly of the muscle is always to the origin, and the tendon of the muscle is always on the insertion. So this is a pull action, like a contract. So it contracts and pulls, it brings the insertion point closer to the origin point. And yeah, so, and the roles of muscles. So during muscle movement, you got like several types of muscle types, muscle names to a single movement. So for example, let's say flexing an elbow. So you got the prime movers. That's the main driving muscle, which is also called the agonist of the that specific movement. So during elbow flexion, the prime movers are the biceps brachii, and you could say, yeah, it's the biceps brachii. Okay, and it moves, responsible for the main movement. And the other type of muscle, the other name of muscle that produces the opposite movement is called the antagonist. The antagonist opposes the prime movers. Why? because it provides the controlled and smoothness of the movement. And you know why we do that? Because why we need that? Because it provides it provides like protection from an injury by resisting the excessive motion. So as you like flex your arm, you can feel here there's like it's getting a bit tense, not that tense as your biceps, but you know it get tense, and that's the action of the antagonist, basically, you know, provided to make it nice and smooth, so you can make it nice controlled movement. And there's also synergist. You know, synergist is the muscle that provide the same movement as the agonist or the prime mover, meaning that it is a helper muscle. It helps into pulling, it aids in the movement of the prime movers. For example, the brachioradialis, pronator teres, flexor carpi. And you know, it adds extra force in case the synergist, you know, what do you call it, pulls too much, but you know that never happens. But yeah, it provides extra contraction, extra force. And then you got the fixator. So like I said, the origin of the biceps brachii is in the scapula, and we know the scapula, we want it, you know, to be stabilized. So the origin, we want it to make it stable and fixed. So the muscles in which the origin of the in the muscles of the bone in which the origin of our muscle movement stays at, originates from, you know, those muscles that fixates that bone are called the fixators. For example, the muscles of the scapula, they help to fix the scapula, so to stabilize the scapula. And because of that, you know, we know that the origin of the biceps brachii is in the scapula. So the scapula is fixated, so the origin of the biceps brachii is fixated. So those muscles are called the fixators. So we can have, you know, movement that is, you know, fixated. You know, if we wasn't fixated, it would do something like this. But good thing that we have it, you know, fixated. Otherwise, it would be very difficult to have any normal movement. So those are the 4 names of the muscles given to you during the movement. So that's about that. And now we go to the supplementary structures of the muscles, which are, you know, really simple: fascia, tendon sheath, and synovial bursa, and the sesamoid points. The fascia. So you got 2 types of fascia. You've got the superficial fascia, and then you got the deep fascia. The superficial fascia is found under the skin directly. You know, it contains fat, vessels, blood vessels, and nerves. Deep fascia, they are dense, tough connective tissue. It surrounds the individual muscle and divides them into compartments, as you can see here. This is a deep fascia. It contains, you know, this is like blood vessels and nerves, and here is the superficial fascia. Deep, and then this is the superficial. You got, it's called the intermuscular septa. Intermuscular septa. Septa as in septum, as in dividing the muscles. And That's it, yeah. It's just the function separates and supports muscles, allow muscles to glide smoothly against each other, and they form compartments. You know, in case of the legs, you got the anterior and posterior leg compartments, which provides, as you can see, nerve pathways for nerves and vessels, blood vessels. Okay, you got the tendon sheath. The tendon sheath. The tendon sheath is a double-layered synovial tube that surrounds a tendon, especially where a tendon passes through a tight or bony tunnel. So you got the visceral layer, and then you got the parietal. So this is the visceral layer, and this is the parietal layer of the synovial sheath. Yeah. What's the function? It reduces friction between the tendon and the what is it? The tendon and the, let me check. The tendon and the bone and the other surrounding structures, obviously, and you know, allows smooth gliding of tendons, especially in hands, feet, and wrist. Example is the flexor tendons and the extensors of the wrist and tendons of the ankle. Okay, now let's go to the synovial bursa. Synovial bursa. Synovial bursa is a small, flattened synovial fluid-filled sac located between structures that rub against each other, usually tendons and bones, or tendon and skin, or muscle and bone. They act as a cushion which reduces friction and prevent tissue damage during the movement. And we have three types of, you know, synovial bursa. We got the subcutaneous bursa, subtendinous bursa, and submuscularis bursa. Like we say, it's either between a skin and bone, subcutaneous, or between tendon and bone, subtendinous, tendon and bone, and between muscle and bone, submuscularis bursa. So, for example, we have the prepatellar bursa and subacromial bursa and olecranon bursa. So olecranon is in the elbow, prepatellar is in the knee, subacromial is in the shoulder. Okay, now we go to the last supplementary structure of the muscles, which is the sesamoid point. So the sesamoid bones are special type of bones that develop inside tendons, usually where the tendon crosses a joint. Their function is to protect the tendons from excessive wear, improve mechanical efficiency by changing the angle of pull, increases of which, you know, the efficiency is to increase the leverage of the muscle. So less work, less for example, less movement does a greater angle of movement. Less contraction, for the small amount of contraction, a greater amount of movement is produced. So that's leverage because of the sesamoid bone, as we showed earlier in the pisiform bone with the flexor carpi ulnaris. Okay. Now we got the examples: patella, largest sesamoid point, and you got the sesamoid points of the hand, as we mentioned, and the bones of the flexor hallucis brevis, big toe. And yeah, that's about it. And I'll just wrap things up. Probably I just remembered that I need to add the sesamoid bones into the types of shapes and classification of bones. Let me check. Yeah, I should add it right here. Let me check. Where is it? Where is it? Here. Right here. I think I also like the pneumatic bones. I should also include, which are the bones that are contained with air. Okay, that's it. Wrapping things up now. Close this. Let's do some sync. We sync it and then we wait until it fully sync. Come on. Syntax are unexpected, raw, and JSON. Anyways, I'm gonna try and fix it in a second. Until that, I'll see you guys next time, inshallah, tomorrow or later. Yeah, later during the day. It's now 9:21 a.m. I'll go take a quick nap and then have the class later. Until then, دمتم في أمان الله. Assalamu alaikum.